Mountain bikers have the Rock Rider, road cyclists have the Triban. This is the Triban RC500. What's up my friends, my name is Mike and today we are going to look at the Decathlon Triban RC500. It's basically the most expensive Triban you can get, which is one level lower than the Van Rysel, which are real road bikes. This is an entry-level bike, similar to the Rock Rider STs. Not the XCs or the all-mountain versions, but the STs. And just to mention, this is a not sponsored review. However, you can find the official Decathlon link down below in the description, as well as the official sizing recommendations right next to me. And these are somewhat accurate. Actually, I would prefer to have a longer bike, just a teeny tiny bit. So if you're between sizes, size up. But hey, if you're more into comfort or endurance, you can stick with your size. It costs around 750 euros, weighs around 10.5 kilos, and has more of an upright position. So not really a stretched out sporty position, more of a comfortable and endurance inspiring ride. It has some decent parts on it, like the Shimano Sora 2x9, a carbon fork, and disc brakes, which I think is great for this price point. But let's look at it a bit deeper. So let's start looking at some details. Starting from front to back, carbon fork. First of all, great. Saves weight, has more compliance, so it increases small bump sensitivity, which makes you less fatigued on your ride. Definitely a great thing to have. Up front we have a bar and stem. Of course we have a bar and stem with different sizes depending on your frame size, which is great. And Shimano Sora hoods. These are actually quite great, they fit quite nicely, they shift well and they look nice. Of course you have your brake levers there as well, which are cable operated, not hydraulic operated, but that's fine for this price. I'm glad we have this anyway. Now moving to the frame, which is aluminum, there are some things on there which some people don't like. For example, the external cable routing. Of course, internal cable routing looks better, however, it's easier to maintain external cable routing. Now one last thing about the frame and the fork, these are quick release gears and no through axles, which I personally think is fine for this price point. And by the way, more maintenance friendly, we have a screwed in bottom bracket, a BSA bottom bracket, which is more maintenance friendly and beginner friendly. You need less tools, it's less expensive. So I actually think that these two are quite good ideas. Of course, we have our bottom cage mounts and the welds look pretty nice. Again, you sit more upright, more comfortable than on a real race bike. In our bottom bracket, we have our crank, which is a Shimano Sora crank. It's 170 or 175 mil, depending on your size. Again, 2x9, really nice Shimano Sora. You don't really need to upgrade this. Fitted with a 34 and 50 tooth chainring, operated on a Shimano Sora front shifter. Moving on from the chain to the back, we have our microshift cassette, which is a bit heavy. It has 11 to 32 teeth, and we have Shimano Sora rear derailleur, 9-speed. Again, actually quite nice for this budget. If you want to accelerate, you need to stop. We have our discs or disc brakes, 160 mil Pro Max calipers. They do the job. You could change them if you want to, if you want something neater, nice looking. However, you don't really need them because they work perfectly fine. Now moving on to the tires, we have Triban Protect Light 28 mil wide tires, and you could change them to 36 mil wide tires. So you arguably could turn them into a gravel bike or gravel bike tires and really ride on some gravel and give you more comfort, because again, this is a comfort oriented bike. Now to the wheels, yes, we have Triban again, but these are tubeless ready wheels, so you basically just need tubeless ready tires and valves and sealant and they're ready to go, which I personally think is quite great. Well, I don't think it's great, it's that they are 2.3 kilos, which makes them quite heavy and they're not that deep, but really that's not that big of a deal. So all in all, I think the components are totally fine, especially for the price point of 750 euros. They're really good. You don't need to change anything. You could change something if you want to, but that goes for any bike. So what can I say conclusively about this bike? Well, it's a great bike. For 750 euros you can barely get any better bike, especially a new road bike. It has carbon forks, it has disc brakes, which I personally think is great, 2x9 drivetrain, it just works, alright? It shifts well, it shifts accurately, it brakes well, the seating position is a bit more comfortable, but I mean, that's what beginner bikes are for. And you could arguably change that into a gravel bike if you put some wider tires on it, and then you would be fine. So I do highly recommend this bike. The only thing which bothers me a bit are the wheel sets, which are 2.3 kilos. That's quite heavy, that's without cassettes, disc brakes, I don't think, just the wheel sets. So would I change something about this bike? Well, maybe the seat, but that's, you know, we have maybe different bumps. The tires are, well, they're fine, but you could get grippier, faster tires, or even chunkier tires if you want to take it to gravel riding. And the wheel sets are a bit heavy. I mean, everything before was like personal customization, but 2.3 kilos for a wheel set without cassettes or discs, that's actually quite heavy, and you could definitely go lighter, but you get to a price point where you could buy a Van Rysel or a similar like branded bike, so that's arguable. But generally speaking, it's a top bike, and yes, if you have 750 euros and you want a new road bike, I'd heavily suggest it. It was set up well, it has decent parts on it, you could upgrade them if you want to, but you don't need to because it works well. So yeah, I highly recommend it, and I actually have good experience with it. But what about you? Do you have any experience? Leave them down in the comments, or if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments as well, and I try to answer every one of your questions. Until then, thanks for watching, subscribing, until next time.